This takes a minute. I'll let you know when your audio will be live, but your video, your audio will be live, but your video.
And Jerry is in the waiting room.
Takes a second. He's in the waiting room? Okay.
So much pressure on him.
No, I was not meaning
okay.
to put pressure
Thank
on
you
you.
for letting me know that.
I was not meaning to put pressure on you.
No, you're good. I'm glad you said something. So
There you
we're
go.
good there.
Kevin and Jerry.
We're good
Fantastic.
there. Okay, and you are live, Madam Chairman.
Okay, let's go ahead and I'll call the Monday, October 21st, 6 p.m. Parks and Rec Board to order. Let's just rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, do we have any public comments on any items that are not included on the agenda? Hearing none. I do have one correction to the minutes, and that's just to add Lacey on number 1, regular meeting number 1. Lacey called the public meeting to order at 6:05 p.m.
And Lacey is in red on both the, may I speak, Madam Chairman? Lacey is in red on both number 1 and she adjourned because I had Jennifer there for the template, so I changed both to red, and I'll make the adjustment to the call. Thank you.
Do we have any other? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes as with the correction.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion, any other corrections?
No.
Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes approved. Okay, the master plan approval. Would you like to talk on that one, Nicole?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director and Planner. I'm not sure, Jerry and Kevin, I don't know if you have video of us or not. If you do not, I apologize. You do. Okay, good. So I do not recall the date that we went to the commissioners. Sorry, I was not prepared to speak on this. October 9th. Thank you. Vice Chair Lacey Forey went to the Broadwater County Commissioners to request the approval of funds or funding for the master plan. We, as I think everyone in this room is aware, the trust board did agree to fund the grant at $31,500. So we have, what was it, 45,000? So that's 13.5.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm not the person for this job, apparently. We had $13,500 that we had to come up with, we as in Parks and Rec, come up with to meet that $45,000. So Lacey Forey went to the Broadwater County Commissioners requesting, she gave them 3 options, that the commissioners fund or pay the $13,500 out of PILT, that they split the $13,500, 50% out of PILT and 50% out of Parks and Rec Fund, or third option, and the least favorable was $13,500 straight out of the Parks and Rec Fund. The commissioners agreed to split it 50-50, 13.5. So what is that? $6,750. $6,750 out of the Parks and Rec Fund, $6,750 funded by the commissioners, not necessarily to be out of PILT. So for a fund to be determined by the commissioners. So just so this board is aware, $6,750 will be coming out of the Parks and Rec Fund for this master plan, which I think still is a screaming deal considering it's a $45,000 master plan and obviously needed in order to get us going in the right direction. So that's all of that. And at the close of the last meeting, I was instructed to reach out to Jerry and Kevin with Great West Engineering, which is why they're here. So if you don't require any more information from me, I will be quiet.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the update. And what that, the last chart I had, we had 35,997 70 cents. If we take that 67.50 out, it leaves us with 29,247 basically in the account still.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead, I guess, and talk about the master plan, the next steps with Jerry and Kevin.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I'm Jerry Gerbentz with Great West Engineering, and Kevin chime in at any point in time. So as the board knows, quite a while ago, we put together a scope of work, as Nicole talked about, between the rec board and the commissioners. It sounds like everybody was comfortable with that draft scope of work. You know, I think from our perspective, there's two things that we should do sooner rather than later. One, we can work with Nicole and the commissioners on the task order. That's relatively straightforward. But I think, you know, one of the important parts of this project is getting out and doing a site visit. And a site visit without 1.5 feet of snow, which that may not happen this year, but there's nothing worse than doing a cool Parks and Rec project and not having, you know, do a field trip and photographs before there's snow on the ground. And so that is one thing I would highly recommend to the board, that we figure out how to do that sooner rather than later. And I think Kevin would agree also with me, is that one of the things we're doing for these projects, we're actually doing a Parks and Trail plan for the city of White Sulphur Springs. We've got projects in Glendive. The city of Big Timber is to get out and also do drone shots. You guys have all seen drones, but I'll tell you, it makes a huge difference from a perspective when you're planning and designing for a piece of property, is to do drone shots. And that, whether or not that happens during the site visit or not, Kevin and I aren't drone people, but we've got folks in Helena, and it's a hop, skip, and a jump to Townsend to do that. But I would love to get the board's feedback on, you know, trying to schedule a site visit and, sooner rather than later, to get everybody out on the ground to look at the Centerville property, and then obviously the Cannon Lane, the ball fields, the trap range property, before the weather gets bad. Do you have thoughts on that?
I think it's a great idea.
Well, I think it's something we really need to do. It's just trying to figure out when you folks
Right.
are available, and then when the majority of us are available to be able to do that. Or if people want to just defer that. I mean, it's up to you as board members whether you want to defer it, depending on what day works for you, Jerry.
You know, I think probably the safest thing to do is for all of us just to throw out a series of dates, or Kevin and I can put together a doodle poll and send that to Nicole, and she can share it with the board, and we can go from there. That's probably the simplest thing to do, just because everybody's busy. I know that both Kevin and I might be wrong, but our Novembers are relatively open, but I'd hate to get too far into November. I mean, the climate's relatively dry in Townsend, but you never know. So, but we could do a doodle poll or some facsimile therein, and have Nicole share that with the board to try to pick a date.
You willing to do that, Nicole? You
Yeah,
think
absolutely.
that'll
That works for me. Yeah, and
Okay.
I'll probably, you send it to me, Jerry, and then I'll send it to Abra, just because typically I think Abra sends out all of the correspondence to the board. And,
Right.
Anyway, yeah, we'll figure it out here, and then I will work to get you the response as quickly as possible.
Okay, so
Great.
Jerry, you're not looking at anything in October then? You're basically going to defer, push to first week in November or further?
No, I think Kevin would agree. I mean, we've got stuff going on the next 3 weeks, but, I mean, for instance, I'm wide open on Wednesday the 30th, Halloween. Let's see what else.
Okay.
I mean, it's just, I think the reality is we're probably into the first or second week of November.
Okay.
Just for you guys, so, and that's probably still safe, barring any unusual weather, but, Kevin and I can work on a doodle poll and get that
Okay.
off to Nicole tomorrow.
All right, sounds good.
Jerry,
And then, go ahead.
quick question while I was thinking about it. By chance, do you have or can you produce a KMZ file for this area that you could email out, that we could put on Google Earth on our phones?
Yep, absolutely.
That'd be great.
Jerry, on that note, actually, we could also talk to our GIS team, and they might be able to come up with some GIS or ArcGIS field maps that also could be used for going out into the field, and then potentially doing some of your own asset tracking as well. And we could talk to them and get them all set up, and we could provide that to you guys if that's something that you want to use. But we definitely do the KMZ files.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. One of the tasks in the original draft scope of work was doing a kickoff meeting. I don't know if the board wants to use this meeting as the kickoff. Do you want to do the site visit and then rally back and sit down and talk about the project in more detail? It's entirely up to you. Typically at the kickoff meeting, it's, who's doing what, roles, responsibilities, making sure we're all on the same page about the steps in the project. I can walk through, I've got the draft scope of work that we put together originally, and we can walk through that if you want to. What does the board feel like is most efficient but also valuable for you?
Well, we have you slated for 40 minutes today, and
Okay.
I think, we only meet once a month, so it probably, unless everybody has any opposition to it tonight, to just maybe walk through that, Jerry, and talk about it, and let's go ahead and get moving on the project.
Yeah.
That sounds great to us. So in a kickoff meeting, again, we usually talk about who's doing what, roles, responsibilities. Obviously, Kevin and I are here to help the board create a master plan for these two properties so you can actually achieve something. And that's probably, I think we'd all agree that the end goal with this project is to come up with a document to help you figure out what people want to have for development and improvements on the properties and how to get it done. Whether it's funding, rough cost estimates from an engineering or a design perspective. So that's really our role, and it's to help you with public outreach. And we can get into that in a little more detail. We can actually cover all of these roles, responsibilities as I go down through the scope of work. But that's really, Kevin and I is to help you create this document. That being said, the more you guys are willing to take on, cheaper less expensive the project is, the more ownership you're going to have, and frankly, it's more likely the more input we're going to get from residents, which to me is one of the key components. Is if we're going to create a plan, it should be based upon all of your institutional knowledge, but also, what do the residents want to see out of the development of these two pieces of property? And obviously, there are advocates, particularly for the Canton Lane property between the golf course, the baseball, the ball folks, and you've got the gun club, the Broadwater Gun Club. Those folks have an interest in the property. But also, I suspect you want to hear from people who aren't part of those groups about what they'd like to see on the property. So we already talked about the site visit. I think that's probably one of the most important things to do as soon as possible, and we'll figure that out. And the reason for that is you all know where these properties probably are, but nonetheless walking them and talking about what is realistic, what isn't, is really important. And then again, getting photos, drone shots of the property. You'd be surprised how useful that is when you're trying to think about, designing recreational facilities for a property. Public outreach, the one thing that we proposed, because it's the most effective thing to do, is a community survey. As a lot of you probably know, and please stop me at any time and Kevin chime in, because as Nicole goes, I'm never afraid to talk. So it's really hard to get people to show up and give you input unless they're really excited or they're angry. And hopefully no one's angry. Hopefully more people are excited because of this project. But nonetheless, people are super busy today. I mean, social media, kids, work, you name it, we're getting pulled in a million directions. So one of the things that we always advocate for is a community survey, which would be a combination of an online survey. We use SurveyMonkey, which is, proprietary software anybody can buy. But along with that, we put together a hard copy PDF version that can be printed and distributed. So if the board is okay with that, that's probably would be the first step in public outreach. And the other caveat to this is it's really easy to create a survey. It's really hard to market it. And we really have to lean on you guys to market. There's only so much that your consultants can do. You don't want to pay your consultants to figure out how to market it. You can use the newspaper, social media, civic groups, whether it's Lions, church groups, the list goes on and on. And links on the county website, City of Townsend, word of mouth. Marketing the survey is going to be the hard part of the survey. And then the other thing on the survey, and you'll hear us say this time and time again, shorter is better. You get much more than 7 or 8 questions, and if they're too in-depth, you start to lose people. You've got them for about, maybe 5 minutes if you're lucky. So when we do a survey, when we work with you, we want to make sure that it's relatively easy for people to do, and you get the information that you want out of the survey. It's a balancing act. We'd all love tons of information, but if you make the survey too long, then people don't take it, or they only do half of it, which we don't want that to occur. After the survey is done, one of the things that we would advocate is that we meet back with you to talk about the survey results and essentially have you validate them from your perspective. Because again, you guys are on the rec board because you care about Parks and Recreation. And you guys have institutional knowledge that the public doesn't. So after the survey's done, it would be really good to sit down and talk about, your perspective on what the survey results are. The next step after that is to have a public design workshop. Basically, for lack of we can go old school and we can have maps, aerial photographs, or the drone shots and do the clear plastic markers, or we can do it via GIS on a laptop. But that would be the next step, is really for everybody to talk about what's practical, what would we like to see here, and start drawing lines on a map, essentially. And then once the board is comfortable with, those rough layouts, I think the next thing would be is to do what we really is an infrastructure and facility assessment. So this is what you think you'd like to see. What is practical from a high-level engineering perspective? Get some rough costs, because while you want this plan to, create these properties into, popular, usable recreational facilities, you also want them to be achievable. So you don't want to propose something that you find out, oh my God, this is going to cost $500,000 to do, and then how are we going to pull it off? So, and that's another important thing that Kevin and I'll try to do throughout the process, is try to make sure that we feel like this is achievable. Because you guys don't want to create a plan that at the end of the day everybody's like, well, it sounds good, but can we really do it? Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
And then the next step after that, and again, this is all based on that scope of work that we sent out. After everybody is at the point they're comfortable with the proposed improvements, for lack of a better term, and that means the user groups, yourselves, the general public. Not that you're going to get complete consensus, that's sometimes impossible. I hope we get complete consensus. But after we do the design workshop and then talk about the nuts and bolts of infrastructure, i.e. recreational facilities, is really for Kevin and I to put together a draft plan for you with maps, photos, graphics, and then sit down with you and make sure that you're comfortable with what that plan looks like. And there'll be iterations. You're going to want to make some edits. There's no doubt about it. But we want to give you something to react to. And then, honestly, the next step after that is doing a community open house with the actual plan, which no doubt there may be more edits. And then ultimately having you as the board hold a public hearing on that draft plan and make a recommendation to the county commissioners about its content. And that's the cliff notes of the process. Obviously, there's a bit more involved in it than that, but thoughts, comments, concerns, things you want to see, you don't want to see?
I have a question, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Jerry, just looking at this list that you were going through of kind of the step-by-step, the public outreach, the community survey, that makes logical sense, obviously, that we would be marketing it because we are free labor instead of paying you, which I know you're worth the money we pay you, but that might not be the best use of our dollars. The public workshops, do you have any best practice tips for getting the public to attend these workshops? Like you said, people usually only show up if they're really angry about something or feel very, very passionately about something. And while we do want those folks that feel very passionately, right, the private interest groups of each of the sports, we also want, Mary that lives down the street to show up, or, the high school kids. Do you have any best practice tips for kind of getting people to a meeting?
Food. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's a great question.
Pizza.
So,
Pizza.
as you can imagine, if we can time this right, we can probably run the survey either before Thanksgiving, that might be pushing it, but after Thanksgiving, before Christmas, and then think about that workshop sometime in January.
Okay.
Obviously, after the first of the year holidays, we all know what it's like to try to get people to pay attention during the holiday season. So to me, again, pulling in organizations like the school district, if they're willing to send a flyer home to kids, I mean, to me, parents of kids are would be one of the prime targets of, what do you want to see for recreational facilities for your kids, whether it's sports, it's playgrounds. And also, if you had user groups other than the ones we've talked about, obviously there's the golf course, there's the trap range, there's the baseball, softball folks. If you know of other user groups in Townsend and in the area, for instance, obviously in Helena, there's mountain biking groups, there's hiking groups, there's the senior outdoor club. If you have organizations like that, senior citizens, going to the senior citizens and asking them to attend. Anymore, we're an aging population, and there may be interest in having them participate in this process. So, tips is really to reach out to all of those civic groups. Other than, we all know that the ball folks, the baseball folks, and those niche groups are going to show up at the table. To me, it's really reaching out to those folks who haven't been engaged in the past. Again, if the school district's willing to send out a flyer, maybe the city of Townsend, and I say the city of Townsend only because of the proximity of the properties to the city, can they put something in their water bill to say, hey, take this survey, and then the next round when we're going to do a workshop, this workshop's going to happen. There's no magic bullet to get people to come. But those are the tips I have.
Perfect.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Yeah, the senior citizens, that was one I hadn't thought of. They have the senior supper club here that, maybe they are not going to be as willing to take an online survey, but if we were to take some
Take
paper
some
copies
there.
over there or go over there during lunch hour and sit down with them and ask questions.
Well, I think
Okay.
you also reach out to BCDC, you reach out to Rotary,
Lions.
Lions,
Oh, yeah.
Legion,
Yeah.
like any civic.
Even the
group.
church groups that,
Yes.
that meet
Yes.
regularly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that, I mean, again, I don't mean to speak for the board, but, my thought is we've heard from baseball, softball, rod and gun club, we're missing a lot of the population. How do we-
Well,
4-H
and the
club.
ones that
4-H,
we
yeah.
met, the ones that we met when we were walking the 10 acres, the pickleball, the parents club, the tennis club, the basketball group. I mean, those are the ones that we're interested in that Centerville property. So, yes, I think we have a good cross section of different sports, but there may be some that we hadn't even thought of.
Right. Yeah, so reaching out to the churches and the seniors, maybe not even just like saying, yeah, this athletic or this sporting club or this sporting group. I like that idea. Okay, sorry. That was my only question.
Yeah, you guys probably know this pickleball is like the fastest growing sport in the country.
Seriously.
I'm in Phillipsburg now, and in the winter there are like 68 people who play pickleball at the high school. If you'd have told me that, I'd have said you were crazy. But it's the truth.
And they're very
it's
competitive.
it's supposed to be, easy on your body, but my younger brother, who is a collegiate D1 soccer player, tore his calf muscle playing pickleball.
They're being a little over-aggressive, that's what it is, yeah.
Seriously.
It's supposed to be for fun.
Competitive, that's funny.
Ridiculous. I think, if you don't mind,
Yes, go ahead, Lindsay.
Madam Chair, I think from some of the stuff we've done previously, we were doing some land use workshops and different things, and that doesn't tend to excite people maybe as much as like a recreation use for the town and county. But I did find it very useful to have hard copies of the maps, and people were able to put their Post-its and suggestions. They could write them down. They could draw on them. I think it was just more personal and more interactive than maybe just looking at a screen.
Right. Well, and even
Yeah.
just going back, when we did this Broadwater County Recreation Plan, and we did that Survey Monkey, we were able to get 293 responders even back in 2018. So I think if we push it and get it out, get the notices, not a lot we can do with the water bill because it's a little postcard, but we can definitely look at other avenues, getting some posters and things out. I think we might be able to engage directly personally with the groups that we're all involved in as well. We might be able to get some folks really get some good input back.
I think between the growing population, the younger growing population, the families that are coming in, and then also your senior groups that want, they want to be able to walk. They want to do, pickleball. They want to do all these healthy activities, just the value of recreation. I think you'll see more people respond, hopefully.
Yeah, and with regards to the design workshop, open house, whatever you want to call it, we can talk about the details, but what seems to work really well is kind of the walk-through open house sort of situation where you have easels with either comment boards, maps. You let people put stickers or Post-it notes. Just, like, for instance, you could have a poster with a list of potential improvements at the Centerville property and let people just walk up and say, basketball court, and put a sticker there. You can make it really easy for people to engage, and you can say, it'll take you 5 minutes. Come on in, give us your input, and you can go home. You don't need to have a setup where you're doing a presentation over and over again. That's almost, frankly, anymore, it's almost a waste of time and money. Making it really simple for folks to come in, learn about the project quickly, and then let them easily give you input beyond just the survey seems to work really well. For instance, if you're really bored, on Thursday evening in White Sulphur Springs, we're working on a housing master plan for the hospital campus, and that's how it's going to be. It's going to be an open house to just let folks come in, learn about the project, ask questions, give comments and input quick, and they can leave. So
That's what seems to work well for us on our projects. It's just an open house like that, and we'll have the boards up, and we'll have the subject matter experts for each part of the project there to answer questions. Let them come in and tour and ask what they want, and then leave.
Yeah.
But the food always draws them. Or bling. You can get some bling.
Fling and food.
Yeah.
The Christmas stroll when people are already down here.
Right, that's
They can
right.
Walk in.
That was going to be my other suggestion is what could we tie, I mean, I think that that'll be done in January, but I was like, what
Yeah.
events could you
Tie it to-
piggyback with, right? That people are already going
Christmas
to be
stroll
there.
is a good one, especially having this facility.
But the Christmas stroll might be a good opportunity to, don't forget to come, you know, like you've done the survey now.
Do the survey.
now, Don't
Yeah.
forget
Yeah.
to come, we're having this open house.
Or even, I mean, it's the beginning of December, right? Christmas stroll.
It's usually the first
You
weekend.
can
of
hand
December.
out surveys there too.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Hand out surveys.
Yeah.
Do we want to wait that late to do the actual survey itself? Because that's our first step. Or do we want to just set up a kiosk with potential of
Well, this
ideas? Because Christmas stroll, let's see, that would be.
yeah, that first week in December. If we do the first step being the site visit,
I would probably, if Christmas stroll is always on a Saturday, it's usually the first Saturday, that'd be December 7th,
Yeah, we do it.
Pearl Harbor Day.
What is, Jerry, what is your time frame for, how long do you generally have a survey open?
If it's, again, the key obviously is marketing it, but usually you get your biggest response in like the first 5 days and then it tapers off quite a bit. So, I mean, you can have it open as long as you want to, but after about 2 weeks, you're probably not going to get much. So, if you ran the survey the first 2 weeks of December, and I'm looking, and if the board, is the board going to meet before Christmas in December, or are you taking the month off?
I guess yeah, it's up to you.
We haven't got
discussed
that.
it yet.
We generally, if we have something to discuss, we'll
Second,
meet.
the
So, I
ninth.
mean, I think we certainly can.
The third Monday is the 16th.
Good.
And the reason I asked that question is, and this is all hypothetical, obviously, I'm looking at the November calendar, actually going to December. If the survey ran, let's say, December 1st through the 12th, and you ended it on the 12th, Kevin and I can get you results. We probably won't get the hard copy results entered, but we can get you the online results like that if you met on the 16th.
Right, so the 12th would be that Thursday, and then the 16th would be the third Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's typically when we meet, right? The third Monday.
Would that be enough time for you to put everything together, Jerry, for a design workshop in January? You know, if we're talking
so.
easels and whatnot, okay.
Yeah, I think the design workshop, that date's probably more important than when we start the survey. I think if we can get that design workshop as soon as possible after the survey, so
Yeah.
I agree. Not wanting to push that to February.
Right. You want, like wanting to do that as soon as possible, and then
January 13th, would that be the January meeting? Is that correct?
20.
January 20th would be that one, but I think we could probably do. I don't think it matters. It doesn't have to be. I wouldn't think it would have to be on our regularly scheduled meeting.
Well, the 20th would be perfect. I mean, Kevin, unless you disagree, putting together, maps, poster boards, comment sheets, comment boards, all that sort of stuff being ready, that the 20th of January is,
That's Martin Luther King
I
Jr.
think it's
Day,
easy.
for what it's worth.
Is that a day? Do they get that off school?
No, they don't. Well, darling, do you know if you have Martin Luther King Day off?
She's homeschooled.
Usually,
Never mind. You can take off
She's
whenever.
never off.
Okay, never mind.
usually the kids,
Okay, dang it. I was
I'm
hoping.
gonna look.
Do they have it?
Look.
the kids usually have it off. The teachers usually have to go. It's
Okay.
usually a PIR, but I have been out for a couple of years, so I don't know that for sure.
I'm gonna look.
That's what it used to be.
For the students? Yeah. Yeah, so they may not have school that day, and I mean, government workers, we won't have work that day, but it doesn't affect us to have to come in that night. I'm just saying, for
But
any government
if
workers,
there
or
were people that had a long weekend, though, you might not have as much.
might not get them to. It's easy to capture people after work, kind of that 5:30, 6 o'clock when they already have their shoes on, and before they go home. Just
How about the 21st? Would that work? Tuesday? We're flexible. We work for you.
That works for us. Or
Tuesday
me.
would work. I mean, we could always do, yeah, I mean, Tuesday the 21st, you could always do, if you needed a meeting before that, you could always do your meeting on the regular day and then the workshop on the Tuesday. Like you said,
Correct.
if you needed.
Or meet 30 minutes before,
Right.
15 minutes
Right.
beforehand too, just so you're not
That's
having to come in
flexible.
2 days in a row.
I wanted to make them come in 2 days in a row.
We get paid. Okay, you're not hourly. I'm hourly. I would get paid either way, but I'm just saying, I don't want to take the volunteers.
No, I know, that's fair, fair point.
So you want to look at January 21st? That's that Tuesday night?
Let me check,
Looks good to me.
Yeah, I
Okay.
so make sure there's no like, what sports and.
That'd be basketball season, yeah.
I mean, there's always going to
Usually
be a
only Friday,
season,
Saturday.
yeah. But they have school board meetings.
And that's
on
going to end up
Tuesdays.
being our design
Oh, yeah.
workshop?
Yep, the design workshop.
This is the design
Yeah.
workshop.
No, I think that works fine.
Websites.
And I like the sound of that. I know you gave another option, Jerry, I think like public outreach or something. I think design workshop sounds a little more
Fun.
fun, yeah.
Yeah.
They get input.
Oh,
Yeah,
And they get to
Open
come
house
and be
is like-
creative.
yeah, open house. And
Right.
but yeah, I like that open house idea too. I think that's great because then you're not looking at some like time obligation, like, if I show up at 6 to listen to the presentation, do I have to stay until 7:30? No, I'm on my own schedule. I'm there for 5 minutes if I want to be. I'm there for an hour and a half if I want to be.
Exactly. Yeah,
There's no commitment.
I think.
So
I
is there
think
anything that we could have ready by December 7th? That we can engage with the public during the Christmas stroll?
It'll be the survey.
The survey,
Yeah,
we could,
Mhm.
yeah.
We'll need to.
Well,
And typically what the survey is, there's the online version, and we do a really nice graphical PDF version to print, but then we also do basically a flyer, a poster that accompanies it. And the poster will have a QR code, it'll have a link, it will have a contact info, preferably somebody at the county if they have questions about the project. But then we could put on that flyer and also the survey, there's going to be a design workshop on January 21st. Stay tuned.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one final question on the survey. Do you prepare those questions?
So, I'm glad you asked that. So what Kevin and I will do, we're not gonna wait to get the task order signed. We're just, because we like to keep things moving, we will work on the task order, but then we're going to get the KMCs and we can send Nicole, a rough draft Word document of potential questions, then you guys can mark that up and say yay or nay
Perfect.
on what you like or not. Again, my only advice, and I think Kevin would agree, shorter is better. People like ranked questions, but I'll tell you, it's really hard to get people to finish a ranked question. So multiple choice, check boxes like give us your top 3, making it as easy as possible. So my answer to that question is we'll get you something to react to this week.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
and you can start tearing it apart and let's add this doesn't work.
Jerry, what's
We're in the
short?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, excuse me. What is short? Is that like 5 questions or 10? I mean, I guess what is considered short?
With actual questions, I wouldn't go any more than 8-ish. And then usually you have a comment box, number 9. What did we miss? Tell us what you think. And then if you want more information, give us your email address. So, yeah, making it really simple. Again, at least this is something people are excited about. You try to get folks to answer questions about a growth policy update or a zoning code, and it's really boring stuff. But fortunately, this is exciting stuff. So, Lindsay, in that 8-ish question range usually works the best. But you guys tell us. I mean, you might be like you're off base and we want 14. We'll do 14. So.
so we need a special meeting to get that done before, our next meeting's not till the 18th. If he gets us special, or questions
Is that something
next
we
week,
can do?
we're gonna have to do a special meeting to sit down instead of doing it all by email.
Do we have to have a meeting or can we do it by email?
I think as long as you don't reply all.
It's hard to not to reply to all to
Hard
see what
to not reply
everybody's.
all. I get that, yeah. That's
Yeah,
where
yeah,
that's
like
where it
that on
gets
the- because
fuzzy.
then
This
it's
is like one of
well,
those
okay, but you-
administrative
but
things, though. They're
Somebody
not-
else
Could
really
this be
wanted
a
that, and you said
ministerial
you didn't
action?
want it,
Yeah.
so not,
I see
where
it.
we couldn't have the discussion
They're
as
not
to why
making
you
That's why I'm
wanted it.
wondering if we need a special meeting beforehand.
Yeah,
Unless-
because if you make the same edit as Lacey, as Dirk, and so that, you know, then
Yeah.
it's just, yeah.
I don't know. I kind of teeter on this one. I feel like it's ministerial more than like a board making.
Yeah.
You're just figuring out the surveys to move forward.
Because it's
don't
really,
know.
I mean, if you view it in the frame of Jerry and Kevin sending you a document requiring your edits, because it's really what they're doing. They're going to send you a list of questions, if I understand this appropriately. They're going to send you the list of survey questions, and you're going to make edits to it. So it's like editing a document,
Yes.
similar to editing minutes, maybe online. But you're not making a vote. You're simply saying, strike this, add this.
You could
You're not
have a
voting.
working meeting. You could do it over Teams too. That's another option. I mean, you're not making any decision, like policy decisions. You're not making any monetary decisions. You're just looking at the survey. It's very ministerial. So, I mean, you could just have a working meeting when it's convenient for everybody and just jump on a Teams call. I'm guessing you all have Teams or Zoom.
So Zoom, yeah. I have Zoom. I know Zoom.
So a Zoom or something like that, and then you could all just sit and talk about the edits and go through them if you wanted. You could start with an email, I think would be fine, and Jerry could send what he has out. Everybody could edit and make individual comments back to Jerry or
think as
back
long
to
as-
one person on the board.
As long as there's no vote to say, you
Right,
know,
right.
we all agree to this, when everyone stops sending edits, we know that you've agreed, right? I mean,
That works.
Yeah,
because then you don't have to.
yeah. I mean, and
And the
exactly.
survey is going to become public anyway. The only part, because really, and the whole reason for the public meeting is so the public is afforded the right to participate and comment. They're not going to have we're not really going to be asking for the public comment, or you're not going to be asking for the public comment on your suggested edits to the consultant.
What questions, what questions would you like us to ask you?
Yeah,
Right.
You're gonna have
Yeah.
eight. You're gonna have 8 questions to look at, and you're gonna get Jerry's probably. I'm assuming sending an email, just whatever format, with the 8 questions. And hey, what do you guys think about this? Make your comments. Put in your thoughts. Would they just send them back to you, or would you want us to collect the comments, or the board to collect the comments and send you one email?
I think it probably would be
You know, it'd probably be good to do one email so we all have them together. Would that work?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think if everybody replies, reply back to me, courtesy copy Lacey, if you have time. And then we'll coordinate that one document, and then we'll push it out for one last look before we send it to Jerry.
Good idea.
That works for me.
I think
Yeah,
that's
that
fine.
works.
I think
Okay.
that's fine.
Just to avoid waiting
And then we don't.
Yeah,
have
the
to-
waiting
for your
and
meeting or
No,
setting a special
that's
meeting.
so
I think
unnecessary.
that's-
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that way you're not doing reply all, it's just to the two of us.
And if there's something that we have it's not that
We
we
can
can't
call you.
Yeah.
and say.
That works.
Okay, yeah,
That
that works.
works.
for me.
Making sure we're all on the same page.
Okay,
Yeah, that was a good question because I hadn't thought of that, like how to facilitate making sure.
You know,
we're
you're trying to follow the
having
rules,
a
but
meeting,
you don't
but-
want to handicap like any type of
Progress.
Yeah, yeah.
When's your
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
when do you need our questions back to you? Deadline for that side, so you guys have time to do your side.
So, let me go back to my calendar. So it's the 21st today. If Kevin and I can get you draft questions by the middle to towards the end of this week, if you can get back to us, I'd say is Friday, November 1st too late? That gives like a week.
I think that seems.
That should be all right.
That should be good.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
Because then our next step is we'll create the Survey Monkey and we'll work with Amy Faust, our graphics person, to put together the graphic version, and then you'll be able to look at the online link, you'll be able to look at the PDF survey, and then the PDF marketing poster, and there'll be blanks on the marketing poster because we're going to need to know who's to contact, and we'll drill down on the date range. I think we know what the date range is, but stuff like that. So.
Jerry, on the survey, are you giving any kind of like background on what the project is, or are we just kind of like, hey, we're surveying about recreation?
Yeah, no, we always try to include a little description, not too long, about what the project is. For instance, in this case, the County Recreation Board is looking at the development of these two properties. And honestly, they want your input about what future development should look like. That could range from basketball courts, pickleball courts, more baseball field, blah, blah, blah. And we need your input. Please complete this survey. Something like that.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Another thing to consider is if we're printing material, is printing material included, or printing the survey included in what we're, the cost of master plan, or is that something the board would need to do separately?
I bet separate. I would think separate.
Were you able to hear that, Jerry?
I would see that you build that into the grant cost, so.
Okay.
And if you got a printer in, again, other than the open house stuff, the survey and the marketing poster, that's all 8.5 by 11. So if you've got a good color laser printer, you got it. Obviously, when you start printing 24 by 36, 36 by 48 maps and stuff, that's different. So, but Nicole, do you guys have a plotter?
We do, but I don't think it's functional.
Okay, well, that's us too.
Okay.
Ours died, and when we penciled out the cost to buy a new plotter, we were like, it's cheaper to go to Helena Design.
Design
We
and
did
print.
the exact same thing.
Hannah's real good too, so.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
just better.
Sometimes that's okay. Yep. Good. So I think we have all of our dates
Yeah.
in order.
We say December.
Okay, can we run through those dates just
Yep.
so everybody has them?
Thank you.
Okay.
So this, basically what I have is this week, by middle of next week, you'll have the questions to us in a draft form for the survey?
Hopefully this week.
This week.
Oh, this week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Jen and Lacey will compile those and return those edits back to Jerry by Friday, November 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Okay. And then December 7th is, we'd like to go ahead and put something together for the Christmas stroll. And then we have, I have close the survey by December 12th, and Jerry can report the survey results by the 16th, our meeting on the 16th.
One thing, Madam Chair, I would say, the plan is to have something available on December 7th, but I don't think there's any reason why we can't go live with the online earlier for the survey. Like
Oh,
on the
absolutely.
first
So-
or second.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, just make sure. Like,
Yeah,
that survey,
yeah,
we
so-
can have it open a little bit longer.
Right, so if we return the edits back to Jerry by November 1st, there's no reason why we couldn't open the survey for,
But even like if we did it that for, like the 1st or 2nd of December, so it'd be a week. Because like you said, we don't want it open for, you don't want
month.
it open for too long.
well, we had the county rec one, it showed in here when I was looking at it, it showed it was open for the month of May.
Oh, wow.
But that I think 2 weeks, to me, I think 2 weeks would be a good,
Especially
A good-
around the holidays.
right,
Yeah.
good time frame for that.
Sorry.
So, no, that's a great point. So, if we
December
get back,
2nd through the 12th or 13th.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jerry.
Okay, might have froze.
Uh-oh.
Teams would work.
Yeah, no.
December 2nd through the 13th is what I heard.
Yeah, me too.
That
Because
works for
then
me.
that's 2 weeks. So the survey will open on 12/2 and close on 12/13. Okay. Madam Chair, can I add that also, not part of the survey, but we're planning for a field trip the 1st or 2nd week of November.
Yes.
Yes.
And judging by the the amount of daylight we're losing, we might have to start that a little bit early, which I know is difficult for you working.
I'll make it work.
So we, okay, so we
I'm
can.
flexible.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
depending on.
Okay, and then the other last date I had was the meeting in January.
Correct.
21st, right?
21st.
21st for the design workshop.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, can't believe we're talking about January.
I know.
Stop it.
And it's so close.
I know.
Design workshop on 121. Okay.
I love the idea of an open house.
Well, I think we have our marching orders. We've got Doodle Poll, KMC. We'll get to work on draft survey questions and then also start the task order. So.
Wonderful.
That works.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you so much, both of you, for
Thank you for
very
your
much
time.
for this
Thank
meeting
you.
tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. These are the fun projects.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good
You
night.
too.
Right.
I am ending.
Okay.
I said, and then turn that off.
I know, I'm excited. I'm like, it's finally happening that we're getting to the spot. Yeah.
Christmas stroll.
The only thing that I comment wise, I think for us in November, it would be a good if we all come, like with just a list of where we can all decide, like, okay, these are the people we're going to talk to, and then we can break up, like,
Make sure that we're not,
and who's, you know, so that it's not, you know, everybody can get a 8 or 10, or however many people we have to talk to, or groups,
Yeah.
and then we can split it up. So I think if we can
Yeah.
come prepared at the November meeting with who we want to reach out to make sure that they participate in it.
okay.
That's my only comment. Otherwise, I think he's got everything well under
Yeah.
way. So.
Well, and for the Christmas
So the
stroll,
18th is our next meeting then, Monday the 18th. Okay, so bring the ideas or bring the contact lists on the 18th.
And then come with our ideas for what we're gonna show a little bit for the Christmas stroll.
I mean, it could be, if we had stuff printed out, it's as simple as you could like just walk around and hand it
Hand
to
them.
people.
Hand it out, or
Yeah,
if it's
yeah.
cold, we can be in here too. I mean, you know, and just take 45-minute shifts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
just
Lure
super quick,
people
like
in.
to where, yeah,
Lure 'em
have
in.
hot chocolate, coffee,
Yeah.
candy,
I was
cane,
just gonna
cookies,
say,
whatever.
I mean, yeah, I would be
And-
fine with
So,
yeah, but if we
Yeah.
only take
making some.
because it's only, I think, a 3-hour Christmas stroll.
It
Where
is-
if we broke it up.
We do have to make sure, like a lot of times 4-H, we use this building. I
Oh,
think, different, for their
Okay.
Christmas
But,
stuff.
I
So
mean, we
just-
might be able to, like a table out front or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we wouldn't need to,
No,
we don't
I
need
think
a
it'd be-
lot.
I like how you say walk around and I say stay inside where it's warm.
I'm like,
personalities.
Just like walk around and hand it to people. It's like, you're strolling, you're supposed to stroll.
well, so what are we looking at on the Christmas stroll night? What are we looking at handing out? That's the survey itself, because we're going to have the survey open from the 2nd to the 13th. So that's right in the middle of that survey time, and we can talk to people, and we can have the hard copies, or we can just lay a bunch of them around if
Yeah.
this
If they
room
wanna
is
show
open.
them.
Yeah.
And they could just sit down and do it in this room, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Or-
5 minutes of your time.
What if, I don't know how much room she'd have if she even does it again, but Jeannie,
Steel?
Good
yeah,
point.
because if she's
Yes.
got room, we could set up a table there, because she's got all that food, everybody comes in there.
No kidding.
Well, the bookstore's moved out, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bookstore moved out, but I mean, that's a really good idea.
And she
because
does
Yeah.
have
everybody
kid
comes in.
activities, so the parents are kind of standing waiting. Hey, while you're waiting, snap this QR code. And
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, and
I mean,
we're
they could
even-
just be sitting there where they line up for food, and
Yeah.
they could stop there, because the line was long last year, and people were waiting, because it was all free food.
If people take the hard copy survey, they have to like turn it in right there.
Yeah.
Right.
So either they can do that, or hey, take the survey online, have the QR code on it.
There.
Like he's saying, they can snap it and do it right online on their phone. But yeah,
And
I
we
mean,
just
that's
gotta
a
If the
really
emphasize
good
QR
idea.
quick-
codes, then people could do it right
Quick
then.
8 questions.
Qu-
you
Yeah,
know,
keep
let
it
us
short and
know your-
simple.
Yeah.
But we need to have at least, if we're going to have all the different sports listed, or however he comes up with this, I think that we need definitely an other column, because we may be missing some
Oh, yeah.
outdoor activity like FOLF that we,
That could be your number 9.
Or your comment box.
Yeah, your
Yeah,
comment
I
box.
think
Just the comment box. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just what else?
but I think that's a good idea.
I love that idea, Dirk. Asking Jeannie, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, she knows us, so she sold us our house, so
There you
you're
go.
like,
Yeah.
hey, hey.
I mean, she gave me a nice cutting board, but I think she can still do this.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
We're just gonna keep extending that.
Yes.
Small favor. Well, and she's very civic minded to where, you know,
Yes,
it's not
yes.
as if, hey, can we set up our Mary Kay booth or something?
Yeah.
You know, this is
Right.
literally for the community.
And
Yeah.
that'd be awesome, because then we'll be fighting over who sits at that booth, because then we'd be right next to the food.
And we get to see everyone.
And it's
Yeah.
really good food.
Is it?
Really good
Awesome.
food. Yeah.
I volunteer.
Gosh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's great.
It's great to see the energy. It really is, because it's been a challenging process. But we're getting there.
It has
We're
been.
getting there.
I feel
Okay,
like we're moving forward.
The
though,
ball is
right?
firmly
Like,
rolling down that
yeah.
hill.
Yes.
we just don't stand in front of it.
Yes.
Okay, do we have any other discussion for this master plan?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, we'll make sure we get that timeline together and work on for the next meeting. Bring your groups and your civic engagement plan. Any new business? Any new business? I do want to mention, I know it was old business. Last time it was new business was discussion on the new park equipment at Heritage Park.
Oh, yeah.
There was a question on the age limit. The All Abilities East swing set is supposed to be for 12-year-old under.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will tell you at Fall Fest, I actually stopped there and asked the 6 teenage boys to get off the one plastic swing. They were hanging on it like monkeys, and you know their weight is not made for that swing. And there were a group of girls yesterday that were playing on the swings, but at least there was only one on each swing except for the tiny little baby one. So I think that I don't know what the discussion was on why, you know, if there was a concern about it, but there is an age, it's supposed to be 12 and under for the All Abilities swing set.
My daughter brought up, because the sign right there, when you walk up, that says 2 to 12, and it just, it makes it the broad for the entire park. And then I actually looked up the manufacturers of the regular swings. Those are weight limit at 80 or 93 pounds max.
Oh. What?
Yeah.
Guess I should.
For the set of 2 swings together, it was 190 some odd, 100.
Oh, you mean for the All Abilities one,
no,
not for just the regular?
swings also.
That's crazy.
Plastic
The
swings?
plastic.
93 pounds?
Yeah.
Who's 93 pounds? maybe your daughter. Jeez.
Because she said that it does rock, and I've seen some of the other girls or kids are swinging them.
You go up and then it vibrates the whole entire way down.
So it's just there. I was just wondering, because she brought it up, and I just went through and looked and brought it up to the board, because I knew with Fall Fest coming up and everybody wanting to
Oh,
sit
there
on
were,
them.
there were adults, everybody, there were
Yeah.
plenty of people using them.
And then my other question, or the other one that's always hard, is when teenagers are being nice to them, when the one parent comes up and goes, "Oh, you're under 12 or you're over 12, you can't be here," type deal. That sign that sits there.
Yeah, see, I just thought that was strictly for the All Abilities, but I was not happy with the adults who were standing around watching these group of teenage boys, literally 6 of them, hanging like monkeys on the double blue one that's on the right side.
Yeah.
And people were taking pictures and thought it was pretty funny. And I'm like, okay. And I asked them, I said, hey guys, I know you're having a lot of fun, but my concern is that you're going to break this. It's not, I said, have a little respect. It's for the kids who are, special needs kids.
Yeah.
I said, let's not break their brand new equipment.
But that one
So-
being 2 to 12, I mean, to me, I thought that was a mommy and me swing. Like, you know, like, so an adult could swing with your baby. Is how
Yeah.
I've seen them
Not if
advertised
they're,
before.
not if they're,
I don't know about that one. I looked
Yeah.
up just the regular swings.
The regular
That's where,
swing.
Yeah, I
No
didn't look
mommy
up
is
that
93
one.
pounds.
not many.
No.
I would have to go look up that one, but yeah, just to see.
Yeah, I thought that was for 2 little kids to swing together
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
on that one.
But yeah, that's how most people use it. They
Yeah.
one sits on one end and the other.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
Right.
But 93 pounds for the regular
For
swings?
regular swings.
So
Okay,
those
I'm
likely
gonna have
will
to talk to
be
Stacy why
replaced
why we.
soon.
And on the swings that have the whole little separate thing, it says the 2 to 12 on that one. It has it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I saw the
'Cause
picture of, and
that's
I thought
the-
it was funny because that's
For the signage. it just says as you walk up to the parks, it makes you think the park's only for 2 to 12-year-olds. But
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's supposed to be only for the playground,
The
not
playground,
the park
yeah.
itself, obviously, but I didn't even realize it was for the whole swing set.
The whole entire swing set. Well, and does the other swing set, the regular swings, does it say anything about a weight limit?
that's the regular swing sets.
But did it have a
Did it
weight
say?
limit? The one that you looked up, the 93 pounds.
No,
Was there
that one
anything
doesn't have
nothing
it.
on
Nothing
the,
on the, yeah.
It's only the ones with the other stuff on it, which
Yeah.
are like the baby swings. That
Yeah.
one has.
Yeah.
the limit? Interesting.
Okay.
Beware
Well, that
parents
solves
who
that
want to swing
one.
with your child.
Yes.
All right.
Madam Chair, I had a
Yes.
couple thoughts I just want to throw out really quick. We obviously are going to have our plates pretty full for the next 8 months or so, but just a thought. I've been kind of brainstorming different ideas, not just kicking things out on future, like just funding ideas for the Parks and Rec Board. What are some ways we could bring in some funds? I'm not expecting us to do like a bake sale or sell popcorn.
Lemonade stand.
Yeah.
Or lemonade stand. Just thinking what could we do? And this is a question to everybody. What are some ideas? What is even allowable, I guess, too? And then also just maybe log some thoughts on different projects that the Parks and Rec Board could be doing as you go around town and talk to people and see things. Just because, the master plan, I know we're only going to be good for about 8 months here, and then we're going to have to take on some more projects. So just different thoughts as you talk to people.
Okay.
I'll check on the funds thing. I think I mentioned that before I transferred to this company, we had funds that were allocated for public stuff like this. So I need to check with our new company because we should have the same.
In the way of grants,
No.
Dirk, or
Yeah, they will just cut a check for the funds that they have, as long as it meets that's the thing. What's the,
501c3?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, on my end, I will talk to legal and whoever else about what are we allowed to do to raise money or get money, besides getting grants, because grants are another one that might be, a good idea. We might have some different grants we want to work on, but usually you have to have a
Well, normally,
specific project.
for some of the projects, we ran them through Stacy's company, the Playable Parks, and for the 501c3, and then that was the way, or we run it through Rotary. And then Rotary turns around and cuts the check, as they did for
Okay, we
the
can do that
park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll follow up on that and see, because I got some good funds for the museum down there in Glen Rock. I think I got 10 grand for the Allosaurus skeleton,
Oh,
finish
nice.
it,
Yeah.
and got quite a bit
Okay.
of funds for Make-A-Wish. So, yeah, I'll run that up the poll and see what we can find out.
Well, and I think
Okay.
as we do this master plan, we're gonna try to encourage different groups to, like we were talking before, like, hey, pickleball, get together, raise some funds. You can use this master plan. It's ready to go in your grant application. But there'll be different types of projects that we'll also see, or maybe different pieces of the master plan, different projects within that plan that we want to try and fund and get going on. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, now, I'm going to bring up what you and I talked about. There is an effort, and if any of you have heard or not, an effort to maybe acquire some of the RY Timber property for the county for an extension of the park, Connors Field, and parking or whatever, putting a multi-purpose center. But encourage, if you hear that, we would, we want to kind of keep everything together. We want to at least be aware of what's going on around the county as far as recreational, and especially if it's involving a transfer of properties to the county, and that kind of stuff. And just kind of get some thoughts on it and then get us contact. And I know Adam Six is the one that approached me on that, but I don't know if MBAC is working on that piece there or not. But if you hear about it, just bring it to the board. Let's talk about it. Okay?
Yeah.
That's good.
Do we have anything else? Any comments from the floor?
Madam Chair, just one quick thing that I just want the board to be thinking about. We still have the sweet smelling toilet that we are on the hook for. They Missoula Concrete has not sold it to date, so we either have to take it. We either have to take it for the 20,000 ish. I know it's not a round number, or take a $5,000 hit.
But that, I thought they were going to store it till April.
They are, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I just want us to be kind of
Don't
As
forget about
keep
it.
that park in the back of
Yeah.
our mind as
Is
construction
weighing down.
season, and
And they
maybe
haven't sold it.
yeah. if-
But depending on what the design, what our design meeting comes up with.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it
We
may
might
be,
be
hey,
using-
boom, bring it over, install it at the Centerville Park. Who knows? We'll see
Maybe
where
maybe we'll be writing a grant for a sweet smell.
for an SST.
Yeah.
yes. Okay. All right. Any other further comments from the floor? Ms. Aubrey, you have any comments? Anything? Any clarifications needed? Okay. Good. All right. Next meeting scheduled for Monday, November 18th. Bring your ideas and your groups. And at that, I will adjourn the meeting at 7:06.
Thank you, ma'am.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you all for coming
Thank
tonight.
you.
Appreciate
That
it.
one's at
It gets
6
dark so
When we
It gets
have-
dark quick now.
When we have our field trip, we're off the record. No, right? When we have our field trip, we will